Hectic. Now, everybody, it's time for us to welcome our very important guest who is in the building today. Now, Chanel,
I'm so excited.
Listen to this. This man is a businessman.
Yes.
He is a media personality.
Yes.
A broadcaster.
Yes.
And in addition to all of that, his father is Oliver Reginald Tambo, who played a very pivotal role in the fight against apartheid Upper Mzansi. If you don't know who I'm talking about, everybody help me welcome Mr. Dali Tambo! Oh man, Mr. Tambo, welcome to Hectic. Yes, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Yes, now we're going to be chatting to you a bit later on, but I want to know from you, growing up as a kid, did you realize that your father was the man that he is to South Africa today? Did you realize that he would be such a hero?
I kind of got an impression from when I saw people with him that there must be something special about him that made people adore him so much.
Yes.
And then as I got older, I realized it was his role in the struggle. And they were really expressing both support for the struggle and their admiration of his and the leadership's efforts to free our country.
Oh man, I definitely cannot wait to hear more from you.
Sure.
Mr. Dali Tambo is going to be with us throughout the show, guys, so you definitely want to keep it locked. But right now, as you all know, the show is all for you and all about you, so let's hear how you can keep in touch with us.
Hectic. Guys, as you all know, this year we are celebrating our 10th birthday. Hectic 99, 10 years in the entertainment industry. Not only is it Hectic 99's 10th birthday, but South Africa also dubbed this year as the year of OR Tambo. Now, here to tell us a little bit more about that legendary man is the broadcaster, businessman, and South African legendary personality, Mr. Dali Tambo. Welcome to Hectic 99.
Thank you very much.
And can I just say, I grew up watching you. I remember I've always looked forward to the high-profile guest you interviewing, and of course at the end that legendary handover of that pillow.
Right.
So thank you so much for taking the time out to be here today. Now, when we think of your father, everybody thinks about the amazing change and positive change that he brought about in South Africa. But what would you say are some of your fondest memories about your dad just being a dad?
I suppose it would be on the rare occasions he would take a holiday with us, and he would take us to Russia or an Eastern Bloc country, and we would have time alone with him. And he would tell us stories about his childhood and about the conditions growing up and all of that. So just having time alone with him, because normally in our house there were all kinds of revolutionaries, Joe Slovo, Tubman and Becky, etc., who would arrive with him. So my job was always to serve them tea or drinks or whatever, but it was rare that we had him alone. Others would be his return home, for example, in 1990, where literally the airport came to a stop. People rushed to the plane, all the workers. He was met by tens of thousands of South Africans. And it was his coming home after 30 years in exile. So although he had had the stroke by then, it was a beautiful day, and I think for him one of the best days of his life.
I get goosebumps just listening to that, because it's evident the impact he had on South Africa. Now, your dad would have celebrated his 100th birthday this year, and South Africa was like, you know what? This year is the year of Oliver Tambo. How do you think your dad would have felt about that honor?
I think he'd be very pleased. I'm sure he's looking down from the ancestral crawl up there. But I think he'd be very pleased. What he would say is, I didn't do this alone. No man is an island. And there were hundreds, thousands of other people who walked with him, shoulder to shoulder, who we must also try and remember as time goes on and bring those names back. Many died during the struggle. Others survived to come back home. But all of them contributed to this dream they had of the promised land, of a South Africa where we were all equal and were free to pursue our talents and our lives.
Now, speaking about that dream of everybody being equal and democracy, what do you think he would say, or just sitting back and looking at the state of South Africa at this moment, what would you think his thoughts would be like now, seeing that they fought so long for us to get us to where we are today?
I think he would consider it not complete. You know, we've done tremendous things to transform this country.
True.
The African National Congress has built millions of homes, schools, turned on water where there was nothing, done so many things to improve the lives of our people. And politically, we are free. We still need to achieve economic freedom.
True.
There are still many, many people waiting for their ship to come in, looking for their place in the sun. And we must address that. People's patience, it's like money, it runs out, you know, and people's patience will run out eventually. So my big thing is we need to share the resources and the wealth of this country equally amongst us. Share before you have to, I say to those who have a lot. Because if you share before you have to, you'll probably end up sharing less. But I think there's a great determination amongst all the people of this country that things cannot stay the same. The status quo must change. He would have been all for that. He wanted his people to be economically free. He wanted them to be landowners, to be employed, educated, and live a happy life.
I can listen to you speak for days. But guys, don't worry, because Mr. Dali Tambo will be with us throughout the entire show. We continue this discussion in just a bit. Wow, I don't know, I got so emotional just watching that, because it is the year of O.R. Tambo. Your dad would have been 100 years old this year.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, he was born in 1917 in a very different world. The start of the Russian Revolution, a world that was still grappling with... are we on yet? Not yet.
You know you're...
Are we?
Yes.
Okay. No, it's because I was sitting here thinking, I know why you call this program hectic, because it is hectic. I don't know if the viewers know the behind-the-scenes stuff. Believe me, it's hectic. Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I mean, you're also very passionate. You spoke about that your dad would have said he didn't do this alone. How important is it to you that the youth of today get to know the freedom fighters of the anti-apartheid regime?
Yeah, it's very important. Public memory is very important, because if we know where we came from, we know who we are, and we know where we're going, or at least have a better idea. It's like when you're driving, you've got to look ahead, but you sometimes have to look in the rear-view mirror. So this country was founded on many generations of heroes. 350 years ago, our people were fighting. Faku, Moshesh, Makana, Makoma, so many of these ancient peoples, and their wives, their families, all fought for their land, for their dignity, for their rights. And that continued all the way through 350 years, up until 1994, when the last generation, including Madiba and Sisulu and Tambo and many others, finally took that last step. But even then, it was as if they had reached the top of a mountain, and only upon reaching the top of the mountain did they realize there's so many more mountains for us to climb as a people.
And speaking about different mountains we still need to climb, you're very passionate about that heritage. How are you going about doing your part, making sure that our memories, our heritage and our arts stay alive?
Well, in numerous ways. One is that we're doing a National Heritage Monument, which will have 500 life-size bronze statues of leaders of our struggle going back to the 1600s. And so far to date, we've done 94. So it's a long march to freedom. When Madiba spoke of the long march to freedom, he was talking about this journey the people of South Africa, generation after generation, had taken in search of their freedom. So we're commemorating 500 of our top icons, and you'll be able to go there as young people, as schools, etc., and to walk amongst them, so that you can see this was Charlotte Maxeke, this was Lillian Ngoyi, this is what she looked like, this is the dignity with which she bore herself. So that's very exciting. We get involved in carnivals.
Yes.
We have a little company called the Carnival Company that does social cohesion carnival.
Yes.
Again, South Africa has got many nations within the nation. It's important that we respect and promote our cultural heritage as well, whether that's clothes or cooking or singing or dancing or whatever. We all come from this deep root, and as we blossom, we must express the beauty of our own cultures, whether we're Xhosa or Greek or Portuguese or Afrikaans or whatever. We must have that cultural pride. So I think part of it is being proud in those that walked before us. Sometimes it's your grandparents or great-grandparents, but they all wanted one thing for us: liberty. You know.
I love that. Now, there's a lot of viewers online who's going crazy with questions for you, Mr. Dali Tambo. So, Sona, let's check out a question that's on Facebook.
Yes, everybody. As you all know, we are celebrating 100 years of O.R. Tambo's legacy, and Mr. Dali Tambo is in the building. You guys have sent through your questions with that hashtag, hashtag O.R. Tambo 100. I'm on Facebook right now. We have that guy, Teddy, who says, I would like to ask Mr. Dali Tambo, how was his relationship with his father before he passed away? Hashtag O.R. Tambo 100.
Oh, wow.
It was very special. He only had one son of blood. He had many, many other sons, struggle sons, but I was his only blood son.
Oh, wow.
So we had a great bond between us. I understood him instinctively, but I would tell him when he was away, I'd go up to his office at the top of the house and I'd read everything. I'd read his letters, I'd read political magazines, I'd read speeches of his, etc. So I kind of got to know him, even though I would only see him 2 or 3 times a year for a couple of weeks each time. I kind of got to know him surreptitiously, but when we were together, it was electric, and he gave me, as I'm sure your fathers do, unconditional love, and he was strict. He wasn't somebody who took fools gladly, and he was quite a strict man, a disciplinarian. He wanted you to be honest, he wanted you to work hard, and he wanted you to enjoy life. Yeah, part of what he said to me was his mission. When I said to him, should I go into politics? He said, no, we are in politics and fighting today so that future generations don't have to go into politics. So that they must be free to spread their wings and discover themselves and their talents.
Oh, I love it. Like I said, guys, I can listen to you speak and give me information about, you know, our heritage forever. But thank you so much for being so willing to share a part of your father with us, to share a part of our heritage with us. And what I love is what you said is that you are keeping our heritage alive with dignity.
Yes.
And I love that. Well, guys, do remember, just keep on sending through your questions to Mr. Dali Tambo. Hashtag O.R. Tambo 100.
Hectic.
Welkom terug, is ingeschakeld reg hier op Hectic 99, hashtag Hectic Talk, as it's all about anxiety and stress. Now, we're also joined by the legendary Mr. Dali Tambo, all about hashtag O.R. Tambo 100, and he shares, you know, the thoughts on his father and also how he keeps heritage alive. Now, Dr. Dali, I know that you're also parents, you also have kids. Oh, yes! What would you say, what advice would you give to parents to help and assist their kids to not be so pressurized when it comes to exams?
I think it's about working hard all year.
Yes.
Not just before the exams. It's that preparation is key, and failure to prepare is preparing to fail. It's as if you were a footballer or anything else in life. They'll be facing stresses of exam-type situations for the rest of their lives.
It's just how to deal with it properly.
If you train as a footballer, you'll enjoy that game. If you work hard all year, you'll enjoy that exam. By the time you're about a day away from the exam, it's too late. What is in there will come out. But so I would say to them, don't cram at the last minute. Work hard all year, and then you're going to love those exams. You're going to come out smiling and jumping and saying, I did it.
Getting that A's. Well, Mr. Dali, Tambo, thank you so much for that advice. Let's go find out exactly how other parents can help and assist when it comes to anxiety and stress.